If you've been chasing outcomes and still feel unfulfilled, it's not because you're failing, it's because you're building someone else's life. But what if your reinvention isn't out there waiting to be found? What if it's actually already happening right now, in the way you approach your next task, in the way you build a next habit, in the way you approach your next day? I spent 15 years overachieving in my career, delivering, climbing, optimizing. I led teams, launched products, hit milestone after milestone. But when the targets and the pitches slowed down, I realized that I didn't know who I was without them. That was the moment that everything changed. And now, reinvention for me didn't come from grenading my life or something, It came from learning to romanticize my creative process. If you're watching this because you feel like something needs to shift in your own life, tell me. What's the part of your process that you've been ignoring or maybe rushing a little bit quickly through? Drop a comment below, and why don't we start from there? So I'm not done reinventing myself, actually, not even close. I still work a full-time job. I still have deliverables, team meetings, sprint planning, all that comes with it. But something has indeed shifted, because a few months ago, I started making YouTube videos again. Over 15 years after my first upload back in college, when it was just fun and spontaneous and pretty messy, I decided, why don't I try again? But this time it feels so different, because now I know who I am. Not just a developer, not just a manager. I'm a creator, I'm a coach, a collaborator, a mentor. That's who I've always been. I just sort of lost track of it. For years, I was climbing corporate ladders. I was chasing goals that I never stopped to question, trying to be the best software engineer in the world because that's what makes sense on paper. But somewhere along the way, I realized that I don't want to be the best at something that doesn't light me up inside. I want to be fully present for the things that do. And even now, I still catch myself slipping. Every time I upload a new video, I want to check the metrics 100 times, refresh the view count, study the graph, chase those numbers. It's that same professional loop, just in a new disguise. But that's the work. Reinvention doesn't mean you don't feel the pull of your old life and habits. It means that you notice that pull and you choose a different path anyway. You do this by romanticizing your process. You fall in love with what you're doing, even when the results haven't caught up yet. If you can do that, that's when everything in your life begins to transform. So how do you actually fall in love with the process? For me, it starts with Ikigai. This is a Japanese framework that asks 4 questions of you. What do you love? What does the world need? What can you be paid for? And what are you good at? I came up with answers to those questions recently. I've been a creative professional for years, designing and developing a lot of things. That covered the back half of the circle of questions. But I'd forgotten the first 2. What do I love? Dreaming. What does the world need? Dancing. Those were the parts of me I'd left behind. Those parts are my essence. Me as a kid, me as a beginner, me before any metrics or milestones. And now, every time I write a script, I am dreaming. Every time I turn on the camera, I am dancing. That's how I'm romanticizing the process. Not with results or resolutions, but by letting the most essential parts of me back into the room. Not just what I've become good at, not just what I can monetize, but what lights me up, what moves me, what connects me to the world and to myself. That's what reinvention really is. It's not about starting over. It's about remembering what you never should have left behind you. You don't have to become someone new to reinvent yourself. You just have to remember who you were before the world handed you a script, before the titles, the salaries, the skill sets, the resume, before you were known for what you could do. Because your reinvention isn't a reinvention at all, really. It's a reconnection. So here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to pause and ask yourself one question. What did I love before the world asked me to be useful? That answer might not come to you all at once, but it's in you somewhere. And once you start honoring it again, even in small, simple ways, that's when the real shift begins. And if you're ready to take the next step, there's a video I made for moments just like this one. When you feel lost at sea and you're trying to find your way back to something steady, start there next. You'll know it when you see it. Thanks for watching.